we have our model and our base. This is an upper, and we're just going to clean up the edges a little bit. So first thing we do is we have to edit, plane cut, which is just like a slice tool that lets us cut in different angles. Now what we want to do is when we're making this slice, we want to make sure it's solid or green. Now in this case, I probably went a little too deep, and you can see as I change the angle, it'll sometimes just turn green. We'll accept that. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. This blue arrow will flip the slicer. You can see again we're green. Go ahead and accept that. Now the last thing we want to do is when we're creating this, we want to give it a solid platform in the back so that we can print vertically. So we're going to do one more plane cut. This time we're going to plane cut the back. And you see we are solid, but the teeth are a little bit retroclined here. So when teeth are retroclined, we do want to give it a little bit more of an angle. So the teeth basically come out proclined when we print, and they're going to better support. You can see just by touching out a hair, everything turned green again. So we're going to go ahead and accept that cut. And you can see that when we go ahead and print that, it's going to give our teeth a little bit more proclination, because when teeth are retroclined, they don't have support, and you may get print failures in this incisal area without support. So now what we want to do is hollow this model. So we're going to go ahead and left click hollow. I like to go right around 2.5 millimeters or so. And right here, offset distance, you'll change that to about 2.5. But I personally like to generate holes as opposed to going completely hollow like some people like to do, but I'll show you how we do that in a second as well. I'm going to put one on the buccal, one in the lingual, or buccal and palatal. And these are just drain holes basically. So if you're doing a suck down, it'll let some air in, and also it will allow any resin to drip out so you don't have hollow model full of resin. So we're going to accept that. And you should see at this point, we're going to have a little vent hole there, little vent hole there, and there we have our two distal heels to print on. Now, some people, like I mentioned, prefer to save a little more resin. And what they'll do is do one more plane cut. And you can see you're going to save some resin by doing that, because that bottom that I left is gone. I'm not going to do that. I don't like to do that. But if you want to, you can. Now at this point, we can go straight to print if we want to go to the print bed. If we want to save the model, we're going to export it. Saving it is going to save it as an MIX file, but it's not actually for printing. So we're going to export it. As an STL file. And there you go. And we're good to print.